There are truths that move quietly through bloodlines, secrets woven into the very air of a family's story, carried like invisible shadows from one generation to another. Sometimes you have felt these truths without ever hearing them spoken, sensed a tension in the room that no one could explain, noticed patterns repeating in the lives around you that felt oddly familiar, as if something hidden was shaping the destiny of your name. You grew up feeling things you couldn't understand, carrying emotions that didn't belong to you, fighting battles no one warned you about, and wondering why your spirit felt heavier than your years. It wasn't your imagination, it wasn't confusion, it wasn't sensitivity. It was the spiritual weight of a truth your family never spoke out loud, and heaven has watched in silence as you walked through the effects of secrets you were never told, wounds you didn't create, patterns you didn't choose. But now, chosen one, the silence is ending. Heaven is preparing to reveal what your family hid. The truth is that you were born spiritually awake into an environment that preferred silence. You saw things others ignored, you felt things others suppressed, you understood emotions that others refused to explain. You were not like them, and you felt that difference early, maybe too early. You sensed the energy in the home before you understood the words spoken inside it. You felt tension before you knew what it meant. You felt heartbreak that didn't belong to you, confusion that wasn't yours, and heaviness that had no clear source. Your soul was reacting to things your mind was too young to interpret. But God saw you. God protected your spirit. God placed a covering over you even when you didn't know why you needed one, because God always knew that one day you would be the one called to break what your family could not face. You were chosen not to carry the secrets, but to expose their spiritual roots. You were chosen not to continue the patterns, but to bring them to an end. You were chosen not to repeat the same emotional cycles, but to rise above them. You were chosen not to inherit the silence, but to inherit revelation. Heaven has been waiting patiently to show you the truth, because revelation requires readiness. You cannot heal what you are not ready to face. You cannot see clearly when your heart is overwhelmed. You cannot receive answers when your spirit is still exhausted from surviving what happened to you. So heaven waited for your strength to grow, waited for your discernment to mature, waited for your spirit to stabilize, waited for your heart to be soft enough to understand without breaking, wise enough to see without judging, and strong enough to heal without collapsing. Now you stand at the edge of a moment that will change everything, because the truth is coming, not to destroy you, but to free you. The truth is not a weapon in the hands of heaven. It is a key that unlocks the invisible chains you did not know were wrapped around your soul. A key that opens the door to clarity, identity, healing, and spiritual authority. You have spent so much of your life feeling like something was off, like something didn't add up, like something was missing. You tried to shake the feeling, you tried to ignore it, you tried to convince yourself you were overthinking, but your spirit was never wrong. You sensed the silence because the silence was hiding something. Some of the things you struggled with were not yours. They were inherited. The pain you carried someone else first. The fears you battled were born before you. The emotional wounds inside your chest once lived inside someone else's. The patterns you noticed repeating in your own life were fragments of stories that began long before you were born. You didn't understand why certain things hurt so much. You didn't understand why you were so sensitive to certain topics. You didn't understand why certain relationships always felt complicated. But heaven understood. Heaven saw the invisible thread connecting you to a family history that no one talked about, and heaven decided that the chain would break with you. You might not know every detail. You might not know who caused the first wound, who made the first mistake, who carried the first shame, who buried the first truth. But what matters is that you were chosen to end the ripple. You were chosen to shift the story. You were chosen to receive the revelation that breaks the generational silence and frees your soul from battles never meant to belong to you. This is why your journey has felt heavier than others. This is why your emotions have always run deeper. This is why you have felt spiritually stretched in ways your family never understood. You were not designed to blend in. You were designed to ascend. You were not created to follow. You were created to awaken. You were not meant to inherit the silence. You were meant to inherit the truth. The moment heaven reveals what your family hid, it will feel both painful and relieving. Painful because you will finally understand the roots of so many emotional storms you had to face alone. Relieving because you will feel the weight lift off your spirit the moment the truth enters your awareness. Revelation cuts chains instantly. Truth heals deeply. Awareness frees the heart, and the hidden things lose their power the moment God brings them into the light. You may soon see unexpected memories surface. You may have sudden clarity about family dynamics that once confused you. You may begin to understand someone's strange behavior, someone's distance, someone's silence, someone's anger, someone's absence. You may gain insight into why you were treated differently. You may discover why certain family members avoided certain conversations. You may begin to see the patterns that traveled from one generation to the next, silently influencing the emotions of everyone connected to the bloodline. It will all begin to make sense, not in chaos, but in clarity, not in fear, but in understanding. And when it does, you will not be afraid. You will not be overwhelmed. You will not be defeated, because God has prepared your spirit for this moment. God has wrapped strength around your heart like armor. God has given you emotional maturity far beyond what your experiences should have produced. God has stretched your discernment to recognize truth even before you hear it. God has increased your wisdom to understand without judgment. God has softened your heart so you can receive revelation without resentment. God has elevated your spirit so that what once would have broken you can now transform you. This is why your awakening feels so spiritual. This is why the past months or years have felt intense. You have been in preparation, heavenly preparation, spiritual conditioning, emotional strengthening. Your intuition has sharpened because it needed to be ready. Your empathy has deepened because it needed to understand the full picture. Your dreams have become vivid because revelation often speaks in dreams before it speaks in words. Your mind has been changing because a new understanding is coming. You have felt old emotions rise up unexpectedly because they needed space to leave your body. You have felt tired for no reason because your spirit has been working even in your rest. You have felt distant from some people because heaven is protecting your energy during this sacred transition. You have been undergoing spiritual initiation without even realizing it. You were walking through a season where God was preparing you to receive answers that were too heavy for your younger self, but perfectly timed for your awakened self. And now your spirit is ready. The truth is coming. The revelation is near. Heaven is about to pull back the curtain that has been covering your family's spiritual history. And when the truth comes, you will understand your identity on a deeper level than ever before. You will understand your mission. You will understand your calling. You will understand why your heart feels older than your age, why your soul carries wisdom you never learned, why your compassion runs deeper than your experiences, why your intuition feels prophetic, why your presence shifts the atmosphere of any room you enter. You are the one chosen to break the silence. You are the one chosen to bring healing. You are the one chosen to receive the truth and transform it into freedom. You are the one chosen to rise above what others refuse to face. You are the one chosen to see what others could not. Heaven did not choose you because you were the strongest. Heaven chose you because you were the softest. Only soft hearts can break generational cycles without becoming hardened along the way. Only awakened souls can carry revelation without turning it into bitterness. Only spiritually sensitive spirits can understand what is spoken in the language of heaven. And now, chosen one, the time is near. Heaven is ready to reveal what your family could not speak. And when the truth arrives, you will be ready to receive it. You will begin to notice small signs before the full revelation arrives. Your spirit may feel unsettled for reasons your mind cannot name, like a quiet stirring beneath the surface of your emotions. This is not anxiety, it is spiritual movement. You may feel drawn to ask questions you never cared to ask before, or you may find your intuition guiding you to observe details you once overlooked. There might be moments where the atmosphere of certain memories feels heavier than before, not to burden you, but to signal that something meaningful is connected to those memories. Heaven always whispers before it speaks, and your soul has already begun to hear the whisper. There will be moments when you suddenly see your childhood differently, not with pain, but with clarity. A memory that once felt blurry may become sharp again. A feeling you never understood as a child may now appear with new meaning. You may remember certain interactions that once felt normal but now feel strangely significant. This is not your mind wandering aimlessly. This is the spiritual unraveling of the truth. The details return because your spirit is finally strong enough to understand what it couldn't understand before. Heaven is lifting the veil, not in one moment, but in gentle waves, allowing you to breathe between each revelation. As the truth approaches your awareness, you may feel a sense of emotional distance from your family, not out of anger, not out of pride, but out of spiritual instinct. Before revelation comes, distance is protection. Heaven creates space around the chosen ones when clarity is near, because emotional noise can distort the message. You are not drifting away. You are being positioned to see clearly, positioned to receive without interruption, positioned to understand without influence. God protects revelation by protecting your energy as it arrives. You may begin noticing how different you are from those around you, not in a superior way, but in a spiritually distinct way. You see connection where others avoid it. You feel meaning where others feel discomfort. You sense emotional truth beneath every silence. Your family may have learned to normalize avoidance, but you were born with a heart that refuses to ignore spiritual reality. You were born with the ability to feel what is hidden, to intuit what is unspoken, to sense what is buried. This sensitivity is not a flaw, it is your calling, and it is the very reason heaven is handing the revelation to you and not to anyone else. The truth heaven is about to reveal will not harm you. It will free you from confusion. It will break patterns that were never meant for you. It will give you back the parts of your identity that silence tried to steal. It will illuminate the emotional inheritance you unknowingly carried and allow you to release what never belonged to your spirit. You will no longer be living through the echoes of someone else's pain. You will no longer internalize what came from outside you. You will no longer question your own heart for feeling things it had no context to understand. This revelation is the liberation of your soul. And when the truth comes, you will not collapse. You will not shatter. You will not drown in emotion. Instead, you will feel something new, peace, a deep, settling peace. Because the moment you see the full picture, your spirit will finally make sense of the journey you've walked. You will understand why certain people behaved the way they did. You will understand why specific relationships felt imbalanced. You will understand why certain people kept their distance or reacted defensively around you. You will understand why you felt spiritually older than your age. You will understand why your heart always felt the need to protect itself, even when nothing seemed wrong. You will understand why you felt alone in rooms filled with people who shared your blood. Understanding brings peace, and peace is the beginning of healing. Heaven does not reveal truth to break the chosen ones. Heaven reveals truth to cleanse them, to release the trapped emotions inside their lineage, to soften the hardened places inside their family's history, to remove the spiritual residue left behind by years of silence. You are not being handed this burden. You are being handed the key to end the burden. The revelation will not be heavy because it is not meant to stay with you. It will pass through you, break the cycle, and dissolve in the light of your awareness. You may soon notice dreams that feel unusually vivid, as though your spirit is piecing together a story behind the scenes. Dreams often reveal what the conscious mind is not ready to see. You may wake with a feeling that something important is shifting inside you, even if you cannot explain what. You may sense that the truth is approaching, like a soft breeze that signals a coming change. Heaven works gently with souls like yours, souls that carry depth, empathy, intuition, softness. The process will not overwhelm you, it will bless you. When the truth finally arrives, you will see your family through new eyes, not with resentment, not with bitterness, but with understanding. You will see the wounds that created their silence. You will see the fear that shaped their behavior. You will see the generational patterns that trapped them long before you arrived. You will see the emotional weight they carried but never named. And in that moment, your heart will expand, not with anger, but with compassion. Because chosen ones are not selected to judge, they are selected to heal. Your presence in this family was never accidental. You were born into this bloodline because your soul carried what theirs could not. Light that exposes truth with gentleness. Light that breaks cycles with grace. Light that heals without demanding acknowledgement. Light that transforms without force. You are the turning point of your family's spiritual timeline. You are the one heaven trusted to carry the revelation that frees the generations after you. You will not walk into this truth alone. Heaven will stand with you. God will soften the impact before it reaches your heart. Your angels will guard your emotions. Your intuition will guide your understanding. Peace will hold your spirit. Strength will embrace your mind. You are not going to be shaken. You are going to be elevated. This revelation is a divine gift, not a spiritual threat. And when the moment arrives, when the truth is spoken, shown, remembered, or revealed, you will feel something you may have never felt before: the lifting of generational weight, the clearing of spiritual fog, the breaking of inherited heaviness, the quiet freedom that comes when your soul returns to its original state, unburdened by stories that were never yours. This is where your journey becomes sacred. This is where understanding becomes transformation. This is where clarity becomes destiny. This is where revelation becomes freedom. Heaven is not exposing your family's silence to hurt you. Heaven is revealing it to elevate you, to align you, to cleanse your spirit, to prepare you for the life you were always meant to live. A life guided by truth, not shadow. A life shaped by clarity, not confusion. A life built on freedom, not inherited pain. And so, chosen one, the first wave of revelation nears. Your spirit already feels it. Your intuition already senses it. Your dreams already echo it. Your heart already prepares for it. Heaven is about to reveal what your family hid. And when the truth arrives, you will rise above it with grace, peace, and spiritual strength. You may not realize it yet, but as heaven prepares to reveal what your family hid, your soul is already shifting into a new spiritual position, a position of clarity, of higher perception, of deep emotional understanding. You may feel yourself becoming more introspective, more reflective, more aware of your inner world than ever before. You may catch yourself analyzing moments from your past with a new kind of depth, noticing patterns you never recognized, questioning behaviors that once seemed normal, and sensing truths that were once hidden behind silence. You are not imagining this shift. It is the natural consequence of revelation drawing near. Before truth arrives, the spirit awakens. Before clarity comes, the soul expands. Before healing begins, the heart opens. Heaven works from the inside outward, preparing your spirit to receive what your mind has not yet understood. There will be moments when you feel a strange heaviness, not as a burden, but as a message. A message that something beneath the surface is moving. A message that something long buried is rising. You may feel waves of emotion that seem to appear out of nowhere, memories surfacing not to haunt you, but to prepare you. You may feel a sense of anticipation you cannot explain, like standing in a quiet room waiting for a door to open. You may feel as if the atmosphere around you is trying to say something, whispering truths your family could never put into words. This is spiritual alignment happening in real time. Your soul is adjusting to a frequency of truth, a frequency your ancestors could not reach, a frequency your spirit was born to carry. Some days you may feel more tired than usual, not physically but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. This is because revelation requires energy, healing requires energy, transformation requires energy. You have been carrying questions inside your heart for years, perhaps even since childhood, and the answers that once felt distant are now drawing closer, preparing to rest in your awareness. It is natural to feel a mixture of exhaustion and relief as your spirit makes room for what is coming. You are not being drained, you are being cleared, you are not being weakened, you are being readied, you are not being overwhelmed, you are being opened. There will be moments of sudden understanding, flashes of insight that strike your spirit with softness instead of force. You may suddenly realize why a certain family member behaved the way they did. You may understand why someone chose silence over truth. You may see the emotional wounds that shaped your family's choices. You may feel compassion for people you once resented, not because their actions were justified, but because you can finally see the pain they were carrying in secret. Revelation is not just exposure, it is understanding. It is the gentle illumination of the shadows that shaped generations. You may begin noticing how different your energy feels compared to others in your family. They may still carry the weight of unspoken emotions, the heaviness of things left unresolved, the tension of truth never addressed. But you, chosen one, are being lifted into a place of spiritual elevation where you no longer carry what isn't yours. You may feel disconnected from the emotional patterns that once defined your lineage, because heaven is severing the spiritual ties that kept you bound to their silence. You may feel like an outsider in your own family, not because you don't belong, but because you are being prepared to lead the lineage into a new spiritual season. You are not separate from them. You are rising above what limited them. Your heart will soon begin to feel lighter, your thoughts will feel clearer, your intuition will feel sharper. What once confused you will begin to make sense. What once triggered you will begin to lose its power. What once felt like emotional chaos will become emotional clarity. You will understand the difference between pain that belonged to you and pain that belonged to those who came before you. You will begin to separate your identity from your family's unresolved wounds. This separation is not rebellion, it is liberation. It is the moment your spirit steps into individuality, untethered from generational heaviness. As heaven reveals what was hidden, you will see how much your spirit has been protected over the years. You will realize that there were moments when God shielded you from conversations you were not ready to hear, from information that would have fractured your heart, from emotional truths that would have crushed you before you had the wisdom to understand them. Now that you are spiritually mature, revelation becomes a blessing instead of a burden. You are no longer the child who needed protection. You are the awakened soul who needs clarity. Heaven gives revelation only when the timing aligns with your spiritual strength. Even as truth comes forward, you will find peace rising inside you like gentle waves. This peace will not be forced. It will not be something you try to create. It will flow naturally from the understanding that the story of your family was never about blame. It was about survival. People hid things because they were afraid. People stayed silent because they were wounded. People protected secrets because they did not know how to face the truth. And now, chosen one, you are the one who carries enough light to break the silence without judgment, to rewrite the story without anger, to bring healing without violence. Revelation belongs to those who can handle it with love. As this process unfolds, you may find yourself remembering moments when you were younger, times when you asked questions that went unanswered, times when you sensed tension in the air, times when you felt something was wrong, even though no one said anything. You may recall how certain topics were always avoided, how specific names were spoken with discomfort, how certain events in your family history were told with missing details. You may remember the way your spirit reacted without understanding why. These memories are returning because they are threads in the story heaven is about to reveal. Each memory is a piece of the truth gently rising to the surface. You may also recognize how deeply your empathy has always run. You could feel emotional shifts in the room even before anyone spoke. You felt the heaviness in others' hearts, even when they wore a smile. You sensed the pain behind closed doors long before you had the language to describe it. This sensitivity was not a burden, it was preparation. God shaped your heart to be capable of carrying revelation with compassion instead of anger, with understanding instead of judgment, with grace instead of blame. Everything about you has been shaped for this moment, this awakening, this spiritual unveiling. As the truth comes together, it will be like watching pieces of a puzzle finally align. Things you once dismissed will make sense. Feelings you once suppressed will find their context. The traits you inherited will reveal their origins. The pain you carried will return to its original owners, and the freedom you seek will rise within you like a soft dawn after a long, starless night. You will realize that you were never meant to break under the weight of these secrets. You were meant to break the cycle. This revelation will not demand that you confront anyone. It will not force you to seek explanations. It will not require you to reopen wounds. The revelation is not about confronting others. It is about liberating yourself. It is about understanding the spiritual architecture of your life so you can walk forward with clarity instead of confusion. It is about releasing inherited burdens so your heart can breathe without the weight of someone else's silence. It is about stepping into your purpose with the freedom that comes from knowing the truth. And when this understanding settles into your soul, you will feel a softness wash over you, a gentle acceptance, a peaceful awareness. You will realize that nothing in your family's story can limit your future. Nothing hidden can hold you back once it has been revealed. Nothing broken can keep you from rising. You are not defined by what they hid. You are defined by what heaven is revealing. You are not bound by the past. You are freed by clarity. You are not trapped by patterns. You are lifted by purpose. This is not the end of your family's story. It is the beginning of a new one. A story shaped by truth, by healing, by spiritual elevation. And you, chosen one, are the bridge between what was and what will be. You are the one heaven trusted with revelation, because your heart carries both strength and softness, power and compassion, truth and love. And now, as the final wave of revelation approaches, your spirit stands ready, not afraid, not overwhelmed, not uncertain, but open, willing, peaceful. Because you finally understand that the truth does not come to harm you. The truth comes to free you. You may begin to understand why certain behaviors repeated themselves through the years, why certain relationships within the family always carried tension, why emotional distance sometimes felt safer than closeness, why certain truths were buried instead of spoken. You may realize that the wounds of one generation became the shadows of the next, passed down not through intention but through survival. You will see how fear shaped choices, how shame shaped silence, how trauma shaped behaviors, how unhealed wounds shaped destinies. But none of this will shock you. It will simply bring clarity to the questions your heart has carried for so long. And as clarity settles into your spirit, you will feel something loosening around your heart, something that once held you without your awareness. You will feel the grip of generational tension begin to weaken. You will feel the spiritual knots that tied you to the past begin to unravel. You will feel the inherited burdens begin to dissolve, as if the truth itself is cleansing your soul from the inside out. The moment revelation touches your spirit, the chains of confusion break. What once felt heavy becomes light. What once felt tangled becomes clear. What once felt painful becomes understandable. and what once felt like a curse begins to feel like a calling. You will start to see that your presence in this family is not a coincidence, but a divine intervention. You were born into this lineage to bring clarity where there was confusion, truth where there was silence, healing where there was pain, and light where there was darkness. You were the soul strong enough to walk through the unresolved wounds of your ancestors without losing yourself to them. You were the one chosen to carry awareness, to carry intuition, to carry spiritual sensitivity, to carry the responsibility of ending cycles that began long before your birth. It may have felt unfair at times, but heaven does not give this assignment to just anyone. Heaven chose you because you carry a heart capable of healing without hatred, a spirit capable of understanding without judgment, a soul capable of freeing without destroying. As the truth unfolds, you may find yourself reflecting not only on what happened, but on how it shaped you. And what you will discover is astonishing. The very silence that hurt you also made you perceptive. The secrets that affected you also sharpened your intuition. The emotional distance you experienced taught you the value of connection. The patterns you witnessed taught you what not to repeat. The generational wounds that touched your spirit awakened your strength, your discernment, your empathy, your maturity. Everything that felt like it was breaking you was actually preparing you to heal, preparing you to rise, preparing you to rewrite the story for those who come after you, preparing you to break the chain. As the weight of the truth comes to light, you will feel your spirit rise into a softness you have never experienced before. A softness that feels like healing, like release, like coming home to yourself. This softness is not weakness, it is liberation. It is the moment your heart stops carrying what was never meant for you. It is the moment your soul stops absorbing pain that did not originate from your own life. It is the moment your spirit steps into its own identity, separate from the emotional inheritance of your family. You will feel a peace so deep, so gentle, so steady, that you will realize this entire journey was leading you here. The revelation may come through a conversation, a confession, a document, a memory, a dream, or a sudden understanding. But when it arrives, it will feel like light touching the darkest corners of your lineage. It will feel like breath returning to places that have been silent for generations. It will feel like truth rising where silence once ruled. It will feel like a window opening in a room that has been closed for far too long. And in that moment, every unanswered question will finally find its place. Every painful feeling will finally make sense. Every emotional knot will finally loosen. You will no longer feel disconnected from your own story. You will no longer feel lost in the shadows of what was kept from you. You will no longer feel like you are carrying emotions without origin. You will no longer feel like you are trapped in patterns that do not belong to you. The truth will return your spirit to itself. It will give you back your identity. It will restore your clarity. It will ease your heart. It will align your path. And when the truth settles, not with chaos, but with peace, you will feel gratitude, not for the pain, but for the strength it awakened, not for the silence, but for the clarity it pushed you toward, not for the wounds, but for the wisdom they carved into your soul. Chosen one, if you made it to this point, it's because your spirit recognized something. This wasn't just content, this was confirmation. You didn't stay till the end by accident. God kept you here on purpose. Right now, heaven is making you a bold announcement. Your waiting has not been wasted, your warfare has not been ignored, and your obedience has not been overlooked. Every quiet yes you gave God when no one was watching has been building the future you are about to step into. This is your turning point, not tomorrow, not one day, now. Now is when you stop calling yourself broken and start calling yourself chosen. Now is when you stop replaying what hurt you and start partnering with what heals you. Now is when you stop living like you're trying to be enough and start living like God has already called you more than enough. As this video closes, your assignment begins. Do not just feel this word, respond to it. In the comments, type, "This word is for me." If you know heaven just marked you in this moment, drop an amen as a seal over this word in your life. And if one line pierced your heart, write it out. You might be the confirmation someone else is desperately asking God for. If you know you're stepping into a new season, don't walk it alone. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay connected to this channel so you don't miss the next word, the next confirmation, the next push that keeps you aligned with what God is doing in you. When this video ends, don't go back to normal. Pray differently. Think differently. Choose differently. Because you are not who you were when you clicked play. Heaven is leaning towards your life. Doors are shifting. Atmospheres are changing. Purpose is waking up inside you. This is your moment. If you receive it, say it out loud wherever you are. This is my turning point. Then type it below and let all of heaven and this entire community agree with you. The video is ending, but your move with God is just beginning. Let the shift begin in you and let it never stop.